The Shake Back Media Group proudly presents to you the Herb and Raj podcast starring Herb and Raj.
So what happens when we're not on here, man? The Herb and Raj podcast starring some other guy.
Herb and Raj.
Oh, you little hype? Having some.
I'm excited. It was a pretty good weekend in sports. Some things.
Well, I mean, having some intro music. Forget all the sports stuff.
Oh, my bad. Oh yeah. Shout out to Willie. The intro music is on point. Herb and Raj. I love it.
I started to just play it again, but I thought you'd be like, "Are we actually going on air or what?"
No, I am ready. Let's get into some sports.
Okay. Well, first, Raj, we have to discuss.
Yes.
Farmer needs a wife.
Okay, you mentioned this last show. We do not need to discuss any farmers that need wives.
Oh, it's just so bad. I had to read about this show real quick.
Have you actually watched an episode?
I'm never gonna watch an episode.
Okay,
but let me just say this.
Yes.
There's 4 farmers, and they take like 8 city girls per farmer and send them to their ranch, and they gotta woo them.
Is this on Fox? I think I've seen the commercials because they show the girls coming in. They're like, "Oh wow, it's so blah." Yeah, I get it.
Yes. Well, Raj, see, when you got married, you had your choice of like thousands of women. So I guess 8 would be like not enough for you to choose from. Right? Oh, don't say that. Oh, I forgot when you got married. That was the only woman you ever knew.
Right.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. We are going. Okay. How about the weather?
All right, Raj. So all that was to just distract people from exactly how bad my bracket was.
Yeah. Well, it's not just your bracket, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, we're in Big Mike's group, and I am like dead last. I think the only thing that's helping me is the person in first picked Memphis, so I won't finish last. Yeah. But
I actually haven't pulled that bracket up in Mike. Where am I at in Big Mike's group? Like, where am I at?
Not first. I think you're somewhere.
Okay, Ricky Bobby.
Well, I mean, Raj, I went in there, I looked at mine, and I printed out, and then that was it. So let's start with some positives.
Yes.
The things that we got right.
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, picking Alabama to get this far, we got right. And Houston.
Yes.
I said Purdue would be the first number 1 seed out, and I was right on that.
I think we both agreed on that. Yeah.
Correct. We did not think it would be the first round.
I did not think they would lose to FDU.
No.
By the way,
I thought if they lost in the second round, it would be to Memphis.
Right. That's what I had. I had Purdue losing to Memphis, but neither team made it to the second round, so we both got screwed there.
Yep. Tennessee was a little bit more. Well, we're going to talk about the things that we had good. I didn't think Kansas would repeat. Obviously, I didn't think they'd lose that early. But did you know that what is it like the last 3 or 4 tournaments? Like the defending champ hasn't made it to the Sweet 16. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that stat. And I'm glad you brought up Kansas repeating because that kind of helped me with some of my picks a little bit. I didn't have them getting to the Final Four, but I thought they would make it to the Sweet 16.
Yep.
But oh well.
So that's some of the things that we got right.
Right. I would say overall, my East and my West brackets are still pretty much intact with a few, obviously with the Purdue Memphis hiccup there, and with Kansas losing. The only thing I got wrong in the West was Kansas losing to Arkansas.
Right.
That's the only thing
you should always pick our Kansas, Raj.
All right. Okay.
That's who we know and love here in the South.
And shout out to Musselman, Arkansas's head coach, who took his shirt off after the game and started waving around. Hey, that's one of those moments you could do that. So props to him. Go ahead.
Even for a Sweet 16 victory.
Even for a Sweet 16. Now, because now they got to play UConn, and that's going to be a tough matchup. UConn's got a strong team.
Oh, and here you go, Raj. Just because you've got a friend.
6 out of 11, yeah. Shout out to Big Mike.
Mike is always on point as far as that stuff goes. Raj,
again, Mike is
going to replace Bob.
Mike is one. Okay, let's. Mike is one of our day one supporters and always will be. Nobody, and Mike, I say this respectfully, nobody will ever be able to replace Bob and what he brings to this show. Herb doesn't even know what he brings to the show.
Mike is Bob 3.0. We're skipping 2.0. I'm telling you, Mike's next level.
Wow.
Bob,
okay.
Bob, we're coming for you, buddy.
Okay.
We're coming for you.
All right.
All right. So the other things that went horribly wrong. Well, first off, I guess you want to look at no, we'll do that. The things that we went wrong. I said what UCLA would probably be the first number 2 seed out, and instead Marquette, which is one of those sneaky. I making the Final Four in like maybe 3 out of 5 brackets.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, under the radar, but got out of the Big East. I thought they'd play well. Yeah, no.
I was going for Marquette. I was going strictly based off their ranking as a number 2. I never watched a game of Marquette's basketball this year, so I wasn't really sure of their style of play. I did have them getting, I think, pretty far, but by them losing to Michigan State, it's kind of weird because I have Michigan State beating Marquette, but I feel like on another bracket that I did, I had Marquette beating Michigan State, so right. I had it 50-50. And as far as UCLA is concerned, you remember I picked them to go to the Final Four before we even did the bracket. So right now that's kept intact. However, they have a huge game against a really, really good Gonzaga team. So that's going to be huge.
Yeah. I think no. I mean, you're dead on. UCLA is. Am I allowed to call them UCLA, or do I have to say?
You have to call them UCLA.
Okay.
Yeah.
UCLA, they're managing a lot of injuries going into this.
Yep.
And still getting as far as they can. I know, they didn't play like the toughest schedule to get to the Sweet 16, but I consider getting to the Sweet 16 a victory. And I hate when people say, "Oh, the path has been easy." No, you're playing teams that made the tournament, and like ask Purdue about easy paths. Which, by the way, the FDU coach winning that game and then saying, "I think we could beat Purdue," like that's the ultimate, like a 16 seed just won the play-in game.
Yep.
For all intents and purposes. And your first comment is number 1.
I think we can beat Purdue. Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's still huge. And even when they played Florida Atlantic, they were in that game too. So FDU, shout out to FDU and their program. I mean, they played 2 really, really good games. But like we both mentioned earlier, we didn't really pick Purdue
they played 3 really good games.
3? FDU?
Yeah, they had to make it to the turn. They had to make it to the.
I didn't count the play-in. I did not count.
Okay, so let's go back then because I'm calling it a play-in and it's not really
a play or whatever. A first 4 play-in, whatever you want to call it.
Do you consider those first, like the teams that lose in those first 4? Are they part of the
tournament?
Yeah,
I don't know. Because they're playing to get in. If you win and you're actually in and you get to play the 1 seed, then you're in the tournament. But if you lose that game, you're not in the tournament. It's like purgatory for the NIT and the NCAA tournament. That's what that is.
Well, then, okay. Well, that's a good point that you're just bringing up.
Yeah.
Would you rather go to the NIT and possibly even like host a game in the NIT or play in the first 4 game and lose?
Oh, wow. That's a go. It depends on which program.
I should have left that for the end. But
you should have. If I'm a program,
I've got a couple good ones for you.
It depends on the program. If I'm a program like FDU, I'll go to the first 4 and see what happens. But if it's like North Carolina.
So like let's say Mississippi State this year.
Yeah.
They lost in the first 4.
Right.
So would it have been better for them, huh?
No, it'd still be better for them to lose in the first 4.
So the first 4 is better than the NIT.
I didn't say that. I just
said that.
I just said if you're playing the first 4. Well, yeah. Do you mean making it into the tournament or just playing in that game?
If you play in that game and lose, would you rather have the team play in that game and lose?
Yes.
Or
yes, because that's more relevant.
To the NIT and be guaranteed a win in your first game in NIT.
It's more relevant. It's good. Still, I would have a team go to that game. Rather have a team go to that team game and lose, because going to the NIT, nobody knows who's playing in the NIT. And you remember I quoted this years ago. What does NIT stand for, Herb?
Not in tournament.
Not in tournament. Yes, that's all. They call it National Invitational Tournament. It just means you just did not make the tournament. Okay, so I'd rather go to the first 4 and lose, and then call it a year. How often?
Or be like North Carolina, just say don't. We're not even gonna do it.
I don't blame them. That's a huge program for them to make it to the national championship game last year and not even make it to the tournament this year. They're just like, dude, they got to revamp. And I don't even know like what year Armando Bacot and Leaky and Caleb Love. I don't know what years they are, so I don't know if anybody's leaving or what. But
we're not the most informed show out there.
Yeah, we're not the most informed. So I'm not sure what's going on. I do know I think 3 of their players have entered the transfer portal, but I don't think they were like the huge, the Bacot type guys. They were just more like role players. So
Bacot, I would think, would be at the point where he'd want to go to the NBA.
Yeah. So. And again, I don't know what in a mock draft, I don't know where he would rank right now. I'm going to give Jay Billis a call after the show and see what he says.
You guys talk every Monday night? You and Jay?
No, it's usually every Monday afternoon at lunch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What happens
as long as I'm not interrupted by you.
Oh, I apologize to you and the Billis family then.
Okay, thank you.
And real quick, thank you for everybody who is listening or watching out there, checking us out. I know certain locations, I think on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel, if you post comments, we can actually put them on air. Like our friend, Big Mike. That's why
Big Mike.
We appreciate him and anybody. I think Twitter is just one of those locations you can't. So if you are seeing us over there and you do head to one of the others, that's where you can actually comment. We'll put your comment on air. We'll talk about it. So or talk about your comment.
Right,
we
might
talk about you too.
We'll talk about you a little bit.
Yeah, we're equal opportunity. Right. Okay, back into our brackets. Out of the teams that are left, obviously your easy answer. I'm going to eliminate Princeton from this answer. What team have you been most surprised by so far, for better or for worse?
Maybe Florida, probably Florida Atlantic, I guess. I mean, I didn't have them beating Memphis.
Right.
And I'm also surprised because when I watched them play, they play like a really, really good team. They have a nice pace. They got some good players. They play good defense. So I would say Florida Atlantic was the one that stands out.
What do you think about the end of the FAU game? That guy tried to do a 360 windmill dunk.
Yeah, that was uncalled for. I don't know if he was unaware of how much time was on the clock. I think maybe he thought it was like 3, 2, 1, and he would dunk it right after the clock went out, but he did it a little too early. He missed the dunk, and he got booed, which was warranted. So you can't do that. And I think they even showed his head coach apologizing to the FAU coach. So that was good on his behalf. But yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that.
The only time I did see that, by the way, is Alabama versus Auburn, and we had a late dunk, and Oates did apologize to Bruce Pearl. Yeah. I will say this. The only time where I really feel like it's acceptable is in your rivalry games.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, if we're losing to Auburn in the last minute and the guy goes and dunks it as the time's run out, like, that's
I'm going to be like, okay, cool.
It's the rivalry game. First off, you're going to play each other again. The chances for revenge are always there. But, like if Michigan and Ohio State are playing at the end of the year and with 1 second left and Michigan up 20, some guy, like, shoots a 3 or does a 360 dunk. Rivalry games, everything's on the board, but the rest of basketball should have fair play. So I get that.
Yeah.
And, if you're going to do something like that, at least hit the dunk. Like, it's even worse when you do a 360 and miss it. Like, then what were you doing? Just practicing in the layup line?
Exactly. But like I said, I just don't think he was fully aware of how much time was on the clock, and he thought he could get it in right afterwards. But, hey, he learned.
So, outside of the Princeton and, like, FAU, it feels weird to say this about a 3 seed. I'm surprised by Kansas State being here. I severely did underestimate them coming into this. And then Michigan State. I think my biggest memory about them for the whole season is blowing that lead at the end of the game. Up double digits at the very end. So otherwise, when I'm looking around at the teams, like Arkansas, I did pick to beat Kansas in a couple, and I know they've got the talent. So that's not something that like kind of really shocked me or stood out. You know what I mean? But I think we've got some good games coming up on tap here in the next one. The Midwest, I think that was one of the parts of the bracket where you picked like 1, 2, 3, 4, and
experiencing a little technical difficulties.
Yeah, I think on your end, Raj, you've kind of frozen up on us. In the Midwest, you picked 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it actually turned out to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 5. So it is the toughest division left out there. I guess Raj is coming in and out. And Mike just brought up a good point there. And this, Mike, I was going to get to that a little bit with the other one, but definitely UT surprised me how without Zakai Ziegler out there, definitely surprised me with them still getting this far. Duke was hot coming into this tournament. And you end up Tennessee just totally shut them down, held them to 52 points, a 65-52 victory. That was just, I mean, it's an ugly game, but that's Tennessee's style this year. Similar to who Alabama's about to play in San Diego State. So that would be a really ugly matchup. But I severely underestimated Tennessee coming into here. I think several brackets I had them losing to Louisiana. And I don't think in any bracket I had them getting past Duke, which was probably just a huge oversight on my part. And we discussed this on the show. Neither one of us had, I think the only SEC team we had in the Sweet 16 was Alabama. And instead we have 3. And if Kentucky is able to hold on against Kansas State, we would have 4. So shout out to the SEC doing as well as they have. You look around the tournament, there's just a lot of parity going on. The ACC has bowed out a lot. I guess, what are they down to Miami, which was their number 1 seed going to the ACC tournament, didn't play well, but they're still up against, a tough Houston team coming up next. That could be an interesting game. Definitely a contrast of styles. I know Miami wants to get out and score a little bit more, and Houston doesn't want anybody to score, including their own team. So that could be interesting as well. Xavier and Texas, I feel like both teams can reach the 80s in that game. Xavier's last couple of games were not great coming into the tournament, and then the Kennesaw State game they barely hold on to win, but they did kind of smother Pittsburgh in their game. And Texas, they're a number 2 seed. I don't know why I feel like I'm underestimating them a little bit. I think I did have them going to the Final Four, though. I did have them going to the Final Four. So I think a Houston-Texas matchup in the Elite Eight would be a fun one. Don't know enough about, I guess, the state of Texas to know where everybody would be leading in that one. So as soon as I said that, that means you're going to get Miami and Xavier, by the way. So sorry for ruining that. Arkansas, UConn in the West, that would be a fun one to watch soon. And Gonzaga, UCLA, wasn't that a replay of their epic matchup from Bob 3.0 is coming out with it. SC and Big East have 3 teams. Big 12 has 2, and I think everyone else has 1. So, what is it? Creighton, Xavier, and UConn, of course. Yeah. So, funny that Marquette is the highest rated Big East team doesn't make it. Who's the SEC's best? Oh, Alabama. So, of course, they're still in it at this point. So, I love it. And sorry, we're going to take a quick minute to see. Yeah, Raj says he saw us. Either Raj is having technical difficulties, or he really just wanted to put me on the spot and see how much I can ramble on before I get tired. But Raj, I have 2 drinks over here. 1 juice, 1 Pepsi with some caffeine in it, and no alcohol. So I'm going good, buddy. I will be just fine. So let's go back to Alabama's region. The South is actually, like, if you add up the seeds at this point and take the teams, Alabama is like, I don't know how to phrase this, the lowest rated, meaning they have the highest combined seeds at this point. With, what are we, like 27? Of course, Princeton being number 15 and still making this far kind of skews that number for sure. But anybody kind of getting excited, like as an Alabama fan, I don't get excited by that, because the last time a bracket fell apart, we got excited. UCLA put us out. So no excitement. I think you have to take every game as it comes. San Diego State, as I just mentioned, is similar to Tennessee with the way they play defense and kind of grind you down. And we lost to Tennessee. So I don't think this is a game you can overlook. I'm happy for the extra day's rest for Brandon Miller. Obviously, starting off the tournament with no points scored in the first game, but still winning by, 21? And almost covered the spread except for a last-minute 3-pointer. That was encouraging to see the team. And then in a grinded-out game against Maryland, I think if you had looked at the score, 7 or 8 minutes in, you might get nervous. And then you look at the ending score, we win by, 22? And you're like, oh, fairly easy, yeah. So it wasn't in the beginning, but again, we kind of end up running away from it with teams like that. And in the bottom half of the bracket, Princeton obviously has been a giant killer so far, taking out Arizona and Missouri, not a team you can overlook. And Creighton was a top 10 team to start the year. So I don't think Alabama can really overlook anything that's going on. in this tournament. So I'm going to take a quick break and try to see if I can get Raj back on the air. So you're just going to have to stare at our background for just about 2 minutes. Let me All righty. So Raj is working to get back out here. So, and I'm getting so much hate mails like, where's Raj? Where's the star of the show? Look, I miss him just as much as you do. So we're going to do our best to get him back here. But you're going to have to hear a little bit more rambling from me and the brackets and stuff before. And the biggest thing, I guess, with no Raj on the show means no Lakers minute. Or what were we down to last time? No Lakers 45 seconds. So, So what we're going to do from this point on is, I guess, fill out the bracket from now until then, or now until Raj gets back. So obviously, Alabama versus San Diego State, I'm taking Bama. And I don't think there's anything in the world that could make me choose differently. San Diego State, I just don't think they'll score enough to beat Alabama. And I think Creighton will beat Princeton, which sets up a nice Bama and Creighton game. And like I said, I think based on talent on the team, Creighton is much better than their 6th seed. So, like I said, they were ranked number 9 to start the year. So, is this up?
I'm back.
Raj.
Sorry about that.
Do you know how much hate mail I got while you were gone?
By viewing the screen, I don't think you received too much, but I'm sorry. I want to apologize to the listeners and the viewers. I had some technical difficulties on my end, some internet issues, restarted everything. So, looks like we're good to go. Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. They were just like, where's Raj? We miss Raj. Bring back Raj. Free Raj. Hashtag free Raj is trending now on Twitter. It's crazy.
Oh, wow. I got to check that out.
Yeah, you got it. Well, not right now.
All right.
Later.
Sorry about that. Gotcha.
Okay. We're going to fill out the bracket real quick and then move on from here. Or not real quick, but we're going to fill out the bracket and move on if you're good with that.
All right.
Right now, we're starting in the South. Did you know the South, if you add up the seeds, the higher the number, the less, difficult that bracket is at this point. In the
South, wait. Say that again.
Add up all the seeds, know, so you've got a 15 and a 6, so you got 21. Alabama makes it 22, and San Diego State is 5, so 27. So the higher number would mean kind of like the weaker the bracket at that point.
Is this some formula you just came up with?
No, it's not a formula. It's just if you add up your seeds and you get that number, that tells you, because if you had, the 15 seed and a 14 seed, like a higher number means you've got the weaker teams at this point.
Okay.
And the South right now has the highest bracket number despite still having the number 1 in there.
Yeah.
By contrast, the Midwest, like the lowest, what you could have 10 at this point would be the toughest bracket because you'd have 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3.
Yep.
And I think the Midwest has 11 because they have a 5 seed instead of a 4 seed.
Gotcha.
So the South is the easiest, bracket at this point. And the Midwest would be your toughest.
I do think
go ahead.
No, I do think Bama has one of the easier paths as of right now. I think the San Diego State game, and you may have mentioned this when I wasn't on here, but the San Diego State game is going to be somewhat similar to the Maryland game. We might start off a little slow, but then Bama pulls away. I think we're favored right now by 8, either 8 or 9. But I think we're going to win that one by around 15. And then the game
I did say this, though, Raj. I did say this. San Diego State, tough defensive team, very physical. It's similar to a Tennessee game, which Alabama already lost. So this is not a game they can take lightly going into this.
That's true. I agree 1,000%. But I guess, looking forward to – I think Creighton's going to handle Princeton. And then the Bama Creighton game, I think that could be very interesting.
Yep, Creighton was a top. They were ranked like number 9 in the preseason polls to start the year.
Right.
So the talent level is there, and they're seated correctly at a 6 with how their year went, but probably not seated correctly with how their talent is.
Gotcha.
Sense. But despite that, I would definitely take Bama. To make the Final Four. And we can stop our picks there because that would, we would be back on the air by the time that is.
Okay.
In the East region.
East.
I mean, how do you not pick Tennessee?
Well, are you saying Tennessee to? Oh yeah, I have Tennessee beating FAU, and then I have Tennessee playing Michigan State.
Is that because of Izzo?
Yes.
It's hard for me to like the entire state of Michigan versus the entire state of Kansas. Now, here's a question I have for you. Now that Kansas is out of the tournament, does their team join Kansas State's team to make it a fully integrated state team or no?
I've never seen that happen before in previous years' tournaments, so I don't think it's going to happen. I could be wrong. Maybe this is one of those years where they implement a new rule, but I just don't see that happening. But it's good. It's a good point.
Okay. Is there any truth to the rumors that Auburn's players tried to join Alabama's team and we just said no thanks?
There is truth to that rumor, 1,000%. Bob even heard that one on when Israel group chat as well. So I heard a lot of players came out of Tuscaloosa and wanted to know if they could join, try to talk to the AD, Greg Byrne, but we said, no, we're not having it. We don't have anything to do with your program. Stop crying. Go back to wherever you came from. So
wow, Raj. Yeah. Okay. Well, I do like the response though. And what is one of the mottos of the show? Friends don't let friends pick Auburn.
Don't let friends pick Auburn. We still got to get the T-shirt made.
I'm actually working on that. You're gonna be shocked one day. All right, so we're taking Tennessee.
What's wrong?
I think I got to take K-State, Raj.
You're picking. Why is that? Why are you picking Kansas State?
I just have too many negative memories of Michigan State from this year, which is probably all because of one game. Okay, but I think I just got to take K-State and K-State to come out of the region, which. I think when I was looking at this first, who did I first say was come out of this region? I think I had Duke. Then I had Marquette second. Maybe Tennessee third. Like none of my top picks are the team anywhere close to coming out of this region. So it would be cool. Like if it was Tennessee again and Bama and Tennessee were playing for the Final Four, that would be amazing.
I'm okay with that. Because I think we could take them in a rematch.
Yeah, same thing.
And keep in mind that first game was in Knoxville, so they had the home court advantage. So
yeah, they had their own risk. And Mike says, and yet you both picked
and
Auburn.
We both picked Auburn.
Mike is not happy. Mike is not happy with us right now.
Yeah, but I think we both picked Auburn because we were inquiring about Sasser's injury at the time, and
Sasser was hurt, and Auburn had home court advantage.
Right, so exactly. And Sasser played really good in the Auburn game, had a really good start. So
actually, you know what? Raj, cancel that. We just didn't follow our own advice, friends.
We didn't. We let each other pick. Yes, we. Oh wow.
You know what? Hold up.
Okay. I still want to get the T-shirt made.
5 seconds. Hold my head in shame.
Okay.
We're so sorry for what we've done.
We apologize to everyone in Bama Nation too. Sorry about that.
Mostly we apologize to ourselves.
Yes.
Going up to the Midwest, Houston versus Miami. Like I got to take Houston at this point.
Yeah, I am too. I do think that game's going to be more. I do think that game's going to be more competitive than some people think. And I don't know what the line is on that game. I think it's Houston by 7. I looked earlier this morning when I was at work, but I'll double check that.
Okay. No, you won't. But okay.
I
will. And Xavier in Texas. When I was talking about this matchup earlier, when you deserted me, I think both teams might hit like 80 in this game. Like it just seems like it's going to be a fast-paced up and down game.
So the over is going to be over 160. You're saying that?
I mean, unless you're gambling on it, then I'm not telling you anything. Don't put any money on anything that I say. That's
right. Idea. Gotcha.
But I got to go with my preseason pick of taking Texas. So here's Texas. Rod, you're in Texas.
Arlington, yes.
Houston versus Texas. What does the state rally around?
Who does the state? Most of the state's probably going to rally around
Texas.
You know that probably Texas,
but the Final Four is in Houston.
Yeah, but the Texas has a good program this year, and a lot of people here are probably going to cheer for Texas. But there are now when you go down south to Houston, which is about 4 hours from us, It's going to be loaded with the Houston fans for obvious reasons. I know a few people that are actually coming from here, going down there for the Final Four for the game. But to answer your initial question, I think most people are going to be pulling for Texas.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good game,
Who wins
though.
that game, though?
What now?
Who wins?
Houston, Texas?
Yeah.
I picked Texas. I picked Texas to win that game.
Yep. I feel like I'm going to be wrong now, though, that Houston is kind of rallying.
Yeah.
But I think I'm still going to take Texas.
I'm sticking with my initial pick. So who do you have in your Final Four? We got
we got to do the West now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm jumping the gun here.
Yeah.
I'm so eager to get back on after my technical difficulty.
Like Rod, I was gone forever. No, I was like 5 minutes. How do you think I felt, Rod? There was a lot of rambling going on.
I was, you know what? While I was trying to get everything together, I'm sitting there wondering, like, I wonder what Herb's saying, because I know he's probably slowing down, like, so we have some technical difficulties. I brushed my teeth twice today already, so they look good.
Did. And I took 2 showers. So,
and he took okay. TMI, as the young kids say, TMI. Or do people still say that? Do people still say
too much intelligence? Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Raj. I do try to dumb it down at times for everyone else, though, just so everybody will understand what I'm saying.
Anyway, let's go to the West.
Oh, Mike is crack. See, Mike.
Yeah, Mike's on it. Bob, greatest stats, bad at IT. Yes. You're right, Bob. I'm gonna Bob. Yeah, Bob is horrible at IT.
All right, so our Kansas versus UConn. I'm taking UConn. You know,
I'm taking UConn as well.
Team for a lot of the year. The talent is clearly there. Big East was just kind of balling this year.
Yep.
I mean, UConn, Xavier, Creighton, and Marquette.
Pun intended. Yep.
Who'd you just say?
Pun intended. You said Big East was balling, so I just anyway. So in the lower half of the West, we have Gonzaga and UCLA.
I'm taking Zags.
You know what? I initially picked UCLA, so I'm going to stick with them, but I would not be surprised if Gonzaga wins. Gonzaga has a really good team. And while we're on the subject, let me ask you a question. Okay. Do you think Drew Timmy's going to be a good NBA player?
No.
I don't. Okay.
I feel like if he was, he would have already left. So there's just –
that's what I was thinking.
He just looks like a little undersized and maybe not enough outside game to really
he's not a good perimeter player. So
yeah. But let me say this. I don't root against anybody. When he goes pro, I hope he does an amazing job.
Right.
And he can come on the podcast and be like, Herb, you're wrong. And I'm like, thank you for being on the show.
Right, exactly.
Like, that is
I'd just be surprised he's on the show. I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be smiling like this. And he'll be like, you guys are idiots. I'm like,
yes, I'm an idiot.
You guys are stupid.
I was so wrong about you.
Appreciate you, man. You coming back next week or what? So, no. Seems like a good guy, great personality. Probably is making bank out there in Gonzaga.
Oh, of course.
And having said all that, I think I'm going to take the Zags to get into the Final Four.
Okay.
With maybe one of their best teams they've had in a while. Still make it there. So
that's going to be the Zags, UConn. That might, I was going to say that's going to be the best Elite Eight matchup, but I don't know if it tops Houston, Texas.
No. If I was ranking the games, I think Zags, UConn would be the most fun. Houston, Texas would be like the most intense.
Right.
Bama Creighton could be kind of an up and down affair, and Tennessee, Kansas State, or Tennessee, Michigan State would be the most boring and nobody would watch.
Yeah, nobody would care. Yeah.
And that's not an insult to either team, but I just think Tennessee would grind that game down so much that you're like first 1 to 55 wins. So.
I agree.
All right. You did have a couple other NCAA news. Rick Pitino is now going to St. John's.
St. John's. He signed a 6-year deal. I don't know the value of the deal, but good for him. I think he's always one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time, and I think he'll be able to turn that program around a little bit. So good for him.
Around every now. Okay. No more singing. All right.
No. Wait. No. We're not stopped. What song was that? What was that?
You never turn around every now and then I get a little bit lonely. No.
Okay. Who sings that?
Mike will tell you in like 2 minutes.
No, I want to know now.
I don't remember the name of the song right now. I just know the lyric.
Bob is shaking his head. Bob doesn't even know.
Bob, bad at music. So what does Bob do? Just give you stats and bring you coffee?
Why must I always tell you what Bob does? Why are you so... You've got to find your own Bob. That's up to you.
But we have enough budget for one Bob, and the talent gets it.
No. I put $3 into the budget today, so we should have enough money.
Yeah, and then you bought yourself coffee.
Well, it wasn't Starbucks.
We're at negative 250 right now. Thanks.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
All right, so let's jump sports into a little NFL.
Okay.
Your favorite team, the Cowboys, has been very, very busy.
Right.
Wow, you let me get away with that?
Yeah, they're not my favorite team, but I wanted to let that one slide.
Have they won the offseason, you think?
How do you think they won? Oh, first of all, they let go of Zeke Elliott, and we all kind of had a feeling that was coming, especially
Look at this. Well, so two people said it at the same time. Who gets top billing?
Let's give it a tie. It's a tie. It's okay. 7:35. Right. It's a tie. Tie goes to the tie person. So Bonnie Tyler.
Yes.
Oh, I got to do my research. Sorry, guys. I'm not too versed on Bonnie Tyler. So Total Eclipse. Oh wow. I'm gonna do my research. I'm not gonna promise anybody that I'm gonna listen to the song, but I will probably Google Bonnie Tyler. I just don't know if I can do that right now.
Oh my goodness, Raj! You didn't think you'd get educated like that on the show, did you?
I didn't.
Yeah. Thank you to Krista, to Mike for
shout out to Krista. Thank you guys. So the Cowboys, they let go of Ezekiel Elliott, and I think we could all agree that he was past his prime. Tony Pollard had a Pro Bowl year last year. I don't even know how much they were paying Zeke last year, but it's just like he was just the second guy, and it's like, dude, we got to move on. So understand that. And Zeke hasn't signed anywhere else yet, right? He's still out there.
No, not as yet. I mean, you say he's past his prime, but he's only been in the league 6-7 years.
I think 7
years. Every year
yeah.
has been worse than the year before.
Yeah. His prime years were like 19, 18, 19, 20 around there. Those were his best years, and then after that, just like not sure what
his value seems to be like is a change of pace back into a slower pace, or like a goal line back at this point because he likes to run the contact. So that's where it seems.
But somebody else will pick him up because somebody needs what he could do. So somebody else will eventually pick him up.
I don't know what he could do, but somebody needs that.
I know.
You think I didn't catch that, Raj?
Yeah.
But the Cowboys, I guess their biggest picks up were getting Gilmore and getting Cooks. Who wanted free. And the Texans basically gave him away. I was really disappointed that they held on to him that long just for that.
Well, that's kind of leading into my next question. I know Brandon Cooks is a really speedy wide receiver, but why is it that he's bounced around on so many different teams these past few years? And why do you think the Texans basically gave him away?
I never wanted him to I don't know why he signed with the Texans in the first place.
Right.
He signed a big money contract with him, and then he was mad.
Well, that might be it. He wanted the money.
He wanted the money, but that's just like you don't go to a team that's that bad and then kind of complain about your role and stuff like that. So Cook's talented, but I think Raj, he'll thrive in like a Cowboy system where he can be the number 2.
Right.
CeeDee Lamb is your clear number 1. I think you get a guy like that talent. And that's what it's funny that they traded Amari Cooper and then they spent the year looking for a number 2 wide receiver. But I think that's why it's a good pickup. I'm just mad that they kind of gave him away in a wide receiver needy league. Just seems like you could have gotten more for him. But in any case, I think it's a great pickup for the Cowboys. And then getting Gilmore, they had to get rid of Zeke, so that was just going to happen. So I think their biggest problem coming into the year is now going to be Dak.
Yep. Their success is all going to be dependent on how well Dak plays next year. And if they do make it to the playoffs, they have to get out of the first round.
Right.
You have to think at this point that if they don't get out of the first round, what are they going to do? Are they going to try to go for a quarterback next year, or what? I don't know who's out going to be on the market.
You're paying Dak so much.
You're paying Dak $1 gajillion. Yeah.
And if you look at his full body, the work, he's clearly talented and he puts up big numbers. It's just he doesn't put up big numbers in big games.
That's
kind of your problem.
Right.
So it's like, and they did re-sign Cooper Rush. So I don't think.
Let's be honest. Cooper Rush did what he was asked to do.
Yeah, so. I don't think he is like a let's lead you to the playoffs kind of guy. So I don't know.
One thing I didn't like that the Cowboys did, and this is just me, I really like Dalton Schultz as a tight end for the Cowboys. They let him go to Houston, and Devin Singletary, running back from Buffalo, also going to Houston. So you kind of got to think with Houston, and we already knew they were going to get a quarterback anyway. They're kind of loading up and trying to get, whether it's going to be C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, they're trying to get him some ammo early. So
Well, you saw what Schultz and Singletary. Did you say Singletary also?
Devin Singletary.
Yeah. No, I like what they're doing, but they got him on 1-year deals. So they're like, we are a rebuilding team. We do want to give you some weapons for the first year, but we also want you to know, like, this isn't it. So
Right.
And obviously, I hope DeMeco Ryans does an amazing job there.
Yes, shout out to DeMeco Ryans, former Alabama alum. Yes.
Yeah, so he's got his hands full for sure, but I think they're heading in the right direction. And honestly, you look at that division, Tennessee on the downturn, the Colts still trying to figure it out. So if you can get by Jacksonville, you got a great shot,
Yep.
A couple years. Which, by the way, shout out to Jacksonville, realizing really quickly that the coach wasn't working and turning things around. I mean, that was a great turnaround for them. And sometimes it is just one thing that you got to change that makes everything better. So
that's true. I agree. Jacksonville's going to have a good team for years to come. And of course, they got Calvin Ridley coming in there as well. So, hey, shout out to Calvin Ridley being back in the game. I'm excited to see what he could do with Trevor Lawrence.
Definitely. My smile was because I'm singing Total Eclipse of My Heart in my head right now.
Oh, Lord.
So
it's gonna be the new thing where we try to introduce a new song to Raj every show or something. Or
well, the problem is because you said something and it randomly triggered that, and I started singing. Yeah. So it wasn't a planned thing,
right?
It just happened.
Okay.
Sometimes you just gotta let the magic happen, Raj.
You're right.
So one of the biggest NFL stories, obviously, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, they tagged him.
Do you know who you can blame for this though?
Who?
The Texans. And I'm sorry, the Texans and the Browns. Actually, you can bring the Browns.
Why do you say that?
Because they gave Deshaun Watson a huge $230 million contract, guaranteed.
Oh, yeah,
he doesn't have.
Cleveland was desperate.
A quarter of the accolades that Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson has. Mm-hmm. And now Lamar is chasing that. And see, Paul.
Shout out to Paul. Yeah, pay Lamar Jackson. We're on the same train.
Yeah.
Give him
I'll tell you this: if Deshaun Watson had not gotten that deal, the Ravens would have offered something to Lamar Jackson, and he would have taken it by this point. I honestly feel that way. It would not have been $230 million, but that's the way the NFL works: is you always want better than what the last guy got. The problem is the last guy did not. And I hate to always say that somebody doesn't deserve that money, but they clearly overplayed for a player that, by the time he got to the team, he didn't even have 2 years. He had not played in almost 2 years. So that was terrible. Yeah. And Mike's bringing up the Russell Wilson deal, but I at least give Russell Wilson like he's got a Super Bowl. So at least there was something there.
I agree.
They traded for them. So
I agree.
See, like PJ says, Deshaun Watson says, "Oh, we got a question."
Yes.
And
is this our first question?
Pete, this is our first question.
Shout out to Pete.
So, this is a point that I was reading into. I won't say 100%, but I would say it's 90% better if Lamar Jackson has an agent. There's several. I've read several articles about it, so it's not like I've got an inside source. I don't have a Bob feeding me information like some people.
Nobody has a Bob.
Here's the couple things that go into not having an agent. Okay?
Yeah.
First off, agents are available all the time trying to make you that money.
Right.
Okay. There have been several stories out there where they're like, Lamar's not always available. You can't always reach him. You can't always talk to him. And I fully believe that, because as a player, you're like, you're going to call me on my terms. And an agent, you're like, if you call me at 2 a.m. and you want to get a deal done, we're going to get a deal done, because that's what I do.
And I'm pretty sure agents have multiple cell phones anyway, so they're like they're always going to be available. They're never sleeping. They're going to take the calls.
Staff. And a full staff. So I'm sure that if you dial this number when he's asleep, they're like, "Give me 2 seconds, I'll get it."
Exactly.
Right? The second thing about it is the more you read about these negotiations, what teams do when they're negotiating is when you're sitting at the table, they tell you all the bad things about your player to try and bring that number down.
Yep.
But your agent doesn't come back and tell you. They don't come back and say, "Hey, Raj, they said that you don't do this or do that." They just come back and say, "Hey, Raj, they're offering you $4 million, 20 million over 2 years." That's all they tell you. Right. Now Lamar's sitting at that table, and I guess his mom's sitting at the table, and the stuff that they're trying to bring, it hits you more personally.
I was just about to say that there's more personal feelings and more emotions in when Lamar's sitting there with, like you said, with his mom, as opposed to an agent. An agent's going to do what's best for you without you getting disrespected.
Yeah.
And they're going to set aside. They're going to let you know, like, no, hey, this is a good deal. Let's take this deal and let's move on. If it's not a good deal, they'll let you know, and then we can keep on negotiating. But Lamar's sitting there like, I feel a certain way. I just put your feelings aside, and you might have got paid. But
agreed.
So,
I do think it would be farther along if he had got an agent. But Deshaun Watson really did just screw that. But thank you for that question. Now I know Mike's over there about to challenge us. He's like,
Mike's getting ready to type in another question.
So, but no, very very good question.
Yes.
And now with the tag they put on him, I think it's going to be even a little more disrespectful because it's like $13 million under the other tag, and now whoever trades for him has to give up 2 first-round picks, which doesn't seem like that high a price considering what they gave up for with the Broncos gave up to get Russell Wilson, as Mike just mentioned earlier.
Right.
But it's tough to negotiate going into that, plus knowing he wants a huge contract as well. So I think that situation is just going to get uglier as it goes along, to be honest.
I was just unsure why Baltimore didn't give him the money, because I feel like what are you going to get in return? Like if Lamar Jackson is not your quarterback, where are you going to turn to then? Like, and you're going to have to pay somebody eventually, or are you just going to keep your fingers crossed and hope to get lucky in the draft? I didn't get that part. You have a good guy as an MVP, proven quarterback.
And you've built your team around him by not drafting wide receivers. So.
Just pay him and then go from there. Get some more receivers on that team, and they'll do well. But it's interesting to see where this is going to go.
Yeah. Well, and we'd already really kind of talked about Rodgers to the Jets last week. So the only other real, I guess, big quarterback thing was Baker Mayfield to the Bucs.
Wait. Let's confirm. Did Rodgers sign yet, or are we still?
Well, because it's supposed to be a trade, so it's and yeah, Peter brings up is betting on yourself if you play like Lamar is dangerous. Yes, because he hasn't finished the last 2 years.
Right.
So that's one of the biggest problems with that. So there are times it pays off, like Dak did it, and it paid off for him. But he does play a different style. He doesn't run as much as Lamar. So it's definitely a thing. No, Rod, the Jets, they're working out compensation, Rod. So it's because it has to be a trade situation. You're waiting on those two teams. So it's
Aaron Rodgers has a list of things that he wants to bring. He's like, look, not just me, but on this little piece of paper, I'm gonna need 3 or 4 of these guys here to
well, they got Allen Lazard already, so they're trying to make that list. So
I think Odell was on the list too. Think about
Odell. They're saying wants like $20 million.
He's not. No, I'm not giving him $20 million.
I wouldn't either.
Not giving him $20 million.
But maybe that's why we're not owners.
Yeah, probably so. Oh my goodness.
We gotta transition.
Okay.
Because we're down to about 13 minutes, and somebody decided to take a little break in the middle of the show.
Sorry about that, guys.
So we got to talk a little NBA, and
Oh, what? Uh-oh.
Because you were gone for 3 minutes and 40
don't
seconds.
do this.
What?
This has nothing. This is not going to take away time from my Lakers minute.
It is definitely.
Oh my God! I knew you were.
The Lakers minute today will be 37 seconds.
What?
37 seconds. And one of the topics you have to maybe touch is Austin Reeves might be wanting more money than the Lakers want to pay him. All right, you need.
I don't have to talk about if it's my Lakers minute. If it's my Lakers 37 seconds, I don't have to talk about that.
You ready? 3,
whatever.
2, 1.
All right, so the Lakers had a pretty good win last night against the Orlando Magic. The game was pretty much out of reach for a little while until the third quarter. Glad they won. The Lakers now sit at the 10th seed. Oh, Herb is royally disrespecting me right now. Okay. The Lakers now sit at the 10th seed at 35 and 37. Unfortunately, the Lakers have to play. I'm sorry, let me start. Austin Reeves did have 35 points last night. He went off. Great player. I've always liked Austin Reeves. Excellent role player. Hope he gets even more playing time. Obviously, when LeBron comes back whenever he does, he's not going to get as much playing time. The Lakers have to play Phoenix Suns Wednesday night. What do I have to do to get more time in the Lakers minute?
Be here for the whole show.
Mike and I both want to let. I have a feeling we're not going to let this technical difficulty issue go. Okay. All right, cool.
Not this week. We only have we have 12 more minutes, so you'll have to endure 12 more minutes of it.
I can do that. Yeah.
All right, Ron. So there's a couple big topics to talk about. Again, I say big because I made them big just reading them earlier.
Okay.
George Karl came out this week, and in the Jokic versus Embiid debate, instead of telling us good things about Jokic, he just insulted Embiid to make his case.
Why?
He said Embiid takes plays off, and he has a mean body or lazy body language at times, and it was
I hate when people say things like a lazy body language. That just sounds like you're trying to poke and prod and find the smallest little issues of someone to kind of make a negative comment about them. Right. I don't like the way he sneezes. Like, oh, come on.
That is too much like politics, like me.
Yeah.
If you think Jokic is better than Embiid, then that's fine. Vote for him. But let's not insult Embiid. is playing great in a league that is getting away from traditional centers. And I think he really makes that team go. And honestly, like there's a little bit of bias for me, like not wanting Jokic to get 3 in a row. But I'm not going to discount what he does on the court. And
that's true.
Last year he was carrying a team that was losing its number 2 and number 3 best players.
Right.
So obviously don't play a lot of defense, but the Phoenix Suns proved back in the day, if you can outscore everybody, then you've got a shot. So
why is it that so many NBA voters don't want to give 3 in a row to anybody? I know it's only happened like 3 times.
It's not to anybody, but it's to somebody who hasn't like made a conference finals or an NBA finals. Gotcha. That's a tougher, and I get that. And obviously it's supposed to be a year by year award, so you're not supposed to think like that. Right. But I totally get that thinking because we do think of the bigger picture. Right. Had Embiid like won the championship last year and he was going for 3 in a row this year, he would have my vote. I'd say that much.
Gotcha.
Or it would be closer, but and just right there, and I think he would just have my vote this year.
I'm voting for Embiid this year as well. I think he's up there. I think he's proven what he takes, and he's really, really helped out this Philadelphia 76ers organization. So I'm going to go with Embiid as well.
Which brings up another point. They've won 8 in a row, Raj.
Right.
Do you believe they can unseat either Boston or Milwaukee?
Are you asking me, do I think Philly can win the East?
Yes.
No, they cannot. They're not getting by. They're not beating Boston or Milwaukee. I think just overall teams, when you have Milwaukee, even when Giannis is out, Milwaukee still plays well without him. And the same with Boston. Boston just has a good young core, maybe with the exception of Al Horford. I don't think Al's as young as some of the other guys.
I was going to say, are you saying he's not good, or you're just saying he's not good?
So to answer your question, no, I still have Milwaukee and Boston. I still have honestly Boston going to the finals in the East.
Okay. Yep. We'll ask 2 more questions about NBA, and we'll get into the 3 questions of death.
Ooh.
Okay. Do you believe in the Kings out west?
Not to make it to I don't think they're going to make it to the Western Conference Finals. I do think the coach, Mike Brown. I do think Mike Brown deserves Coach of the Year award. Nobody, I don't care who it is. I don't think any. Is it Mike Brown?
Mike Brown. Who? Mike Brown. Okay.
I don't think anybody picked Sacramento to finish second or third in the West. But the Sacramento's playing phenomenal, and I also think De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk, they play really, really well together. That goes back to their Kentucky days. So no, I don't believe in them. But they're having a good season. I'll give them that. They're going to have home court advantage as long as they finish strong in the playoffs. So good for Sacramento.
Yep. I do hope for I used to root for them back in the days when they were getting beat out by the Lakers. So it's nice to see the resurgence from them. And then can they still surpass Memphis, who has their own troubles? And not going to touch on it too much. Just I do hope that Ja is serious about getting help and changing his ways. And that's really kind of.
I agree. We'll leave it at that.
Yep. All right. So you ready for? You got about 7 minutes. So you ready for 3 questions?
Let's do it. I turn the hat back.
All right. They shut down Tuscaloosa, but they want to keep the University of Alabama. Where do you move Alabama to? What city? And you can even move them out of Alabama.
Wait. They shut down Tuscaloosa, but they keep the University of Alabama. Can you just move it to Birmingham?
Would you just move it to Birmingham? Or would you just try and get somewhere bigger or better?
I'll move it to Birmingham. You already have a strong fan base there.
I'd move it to like Knoxville.
Why would you do that?
Well, better
outcome. That'll be absolute chaos.
The University of Alabama at Knoxville.
At Knoxville? Oh my gosh. That would be oh my goodness. Right. That is a funny take on it though, but oh Lord. Go ahead.
All right. For the next games, the Alabama basketball team, Coach Oates decides to sit out, and Mike mentions Huntsville. That's a good choice if you're going to Alabama. I think it'd have to be between Huntsville and Birmingham. I don't know if there's any other places even close if you're moving the Bama team. All right, so Nate Oates does not coach the rest of the tournament. What Marvel villain steps in and takes over as coach?
What is it with the Marvel and DC stuff that we've got going on here?
Well, because it's like, like when you mentioned Looney Tunes last week, I'm like, I don't even know that many Looney Tunes. Like, it doesn't work that way. But I read a lot.
You know what though? After you got off the air, you probably thought of a bunch of Looney Tunes.
Oh, I did, of course. Especially in this family, everybody's a little loony. So
you said which Marvel guy would I want to take?
Which Marvel villain
Villain. Oh, villain.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have coach? Because we're a little villainous over here.
I don't know. I feel like if I pick a villain, there's going to be a lot of technical fouls called. And we might get some ejections. Wow, that's a good one. Marvel villain. Does Ultron count as a villain?
Yeah. Why would he not count as a villain? He wanted
I don't know,
because
he was like a robot though. He just kind of.
That's still a villain.
And then there's Thanos. I'm trying to think.
I like the Ultron pick just because he probably analyzes everything.
I like Ultron because I think that's what I was going to say. He's going to really carefully calculate the other team. He's going to bring some stats and say, this is what they do well, this is what they do bad, and we're going to harp on their weaknesses, and that's how we're going to win this game. Thanos is more like, just go out there and just take everybody out. I don't care how it feels. I'm going to take over the world anyway. So I'm going to stick with Ultron.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I like it. Last question.
You got a smile on your face already.
I think this is a fun one.
Oh, Lord. Let's do it.
If we swapped Oates for Saban, who would do a better job at their new profession?
I feel like Oates would do a better job with the football team.
Really?
Because now, are we thinking long term? Because Oates would have the recruiting. He's got good recruiting now. He does good at basketball, but Oates, I just feel like he'll be able to maintain that recruiting as far as the football program. And I'm thinking about this. This is a good question.
I actually went the other way.
You think Saban would do a better job with the basketball team?
I'll let you finish your answer first, and then I'll tell you why.
I kind of finished my answer. I don't know.
Rod said I'm tapping out.
I want to hear what you have to say.
I think purely based on numbers, going from managing like 70, 80 kids, or I guess 50, 60 kids once you get the cut downs, to managing like 12 and recruiting those and really coaching like 6 or 7, I think he would adapt to that, especially if obviously for both guys, it depends on what support structure they have. If they just swap places right now, I think for Saban, he's like, wait, these are all the kids I have to manage and talk to and plan for. Yeah. And in football, you're like, okay, I need a good quarterback, but then like, do I have a good line? Do I have some good wide receivers to get open? Like, there's so many more positions. In basketball, it's one of those sports where you can have a good team, but like to take one of the announcers, like Wally Zerbia back in the day was one single player, leading his team. If you have an alpha dog in basketball, you can get pretty far.
How long do you think it would take Saban to recruit a good team, though? Because is Alabama considered like one of the blue bloods? I don't think we are yet. We're getting there.
It's not, but
in football, we kind of are.
Basketball, you only got to hit on 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So you get one good transfer and one good recruit. It's not like football where you got to get like a whole team of them. So
yeah.
And you want to see Mike's answer for your question?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I'm looking at it. But
Saban, Mike Dennis would just go and dominate, and they would foul out Oates with it.
Analytical background would do better. And they would, and they would foul out. And Oates, with his analytical background, would do a little better in football. So
I just think that it's different to go from like 12 to 60 all of a sudden.
That's true.
Analytics work more in basketball where you're like, hey, let's take a lot of threes. If Oates takes analytics and is like, analytics is not working for Kiffin. So I don't know that it would work as well in football. So.
Gotcha.
All right, Rod, you got 2 minutes. You survived the question this week. You got 2 minutes left. What game, obviously outside the Alabama game, are you most looking forward to this Thursday or Friday?
I would say it's got to be between Gonzaga and UCLA or Houston, Miami.
Really?
You said outside Alabama, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say Creighton and Princeton because I think Creighton's gonna win and we'll play Creighton.
I'm not looking forward to anything in the East, and I'm not looking forward to Creighton and Princeton. Correct.
Right. In the Midwest, Xavier, Texas might be interesting, but yeah, I'm gonna go Houston, Miami because they're 2 styles of play. And then the Gonzaga UCLA game. Although I do think UConn's gonna win, but Arkansas is gonna give them a run for their money.
Yep.
So
I would almost rank them like this: Xavier, Texas 1, just because I think there's a high potential for scoring and it could be fun.
Okay.
Arkansas, UConn, and Gonzaga, UCLA, like the whole West is maybe a tie for the number 2.
Okay.
Just because I think Arkansas, UConn will get up and down, and Gonzaga and UCLA played that epic game. It was like 2 years ago.
Yep.
And then, like you said, Houston, Miami, I think would be the next one. Styles of play, and Houston, I think it'll be a fun game. So that's very good. Creighton, Princeton would be actually Kansas State and Michigan State is my least one. What'd you say?
You're wrong, but I respect your opinion.
Thank you. I think.
Yeah, the games in the East are.
Go ahead.
I say, yeah, we're least likely to watch any of the games in the East. We'll pay attention to them, but we're just kind of like, okay, just whoever makes out the East good, let's just move on.
Yeah, those are the games I hope are on at other times. Like something else is on at the same time.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll tune into an NIT game or something.
Yep.
All right. Well, Raj, we survived. Kind of.
Yep. Kind of. We had a little mishap during the middle of the show, but we'll bounce back.
Tonight we took an L, but tomorrow we'll
bounce back. Why did I say that?
You
said that last week.
And for the Herbert Raj show, next week I'll be on vacation, but we'll still be here, and maybe we'll work on some outro music.
Let's do it.
AKA Willie. So, all right, everybody, have a good night.
All right, thank you. Roll Tide.